Hello, this is Taylor K. Stevens, and this is the second coaching call I have with my client, Mark. So, Mark, give me a little bit of feedback as far as the homework that I gave you on our last call. You know, the first thing I wanted you to do was make a list of all of the things that you needed to finish getting in place to get this product off the ground. So in other words, if somebody comes to you tomorrow and said, I want this, I want 200 orders, you'll be ready to give those to them. What did you find with that list?
Yeah, so what I did was it was late, about 11 o'clock at night. I went out on the patio where it was peaceful and quiet. Surprisingly how quiet it actually was. Away from everything, no distraction, no phone, a little music. And I did that. I started the process of jotting everything I needed to do. And what happened, it ended up becoming like a snowball effect, right? So I was thinking about this, and what about this, and what about that, and really went through the whole process. It took me about an hour and a half really to kind of come up with it. But it was, I guess after the exercise, the takeaway for me was like, wow, this is really doable, you know?
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm a big list maker person. Don't always do them, but I'm big on making lists. But that exercise, what it really got me to see was the bigger picture, and not just, okay, now this, now, okay, what I have to do with next, what I have to do with next. Now it was really and that's what I did. I ended up putting it, I took the list that you told me to do, I got on a tangent. I ended up putting it in a Microsoft project, and I started assigning dates to it, how long it would take. And so it was a really good exercise.
Good. So, well, that's what happens is so much of the time when we actually put it out on paper and look at it, what I have found with myself is most of the time it's not as overwhelming or as scary as we think, you know, that it's going to be. And so that's good that you were able to put some dates, because that's the other thing that, you know, I was going to have you do.
Okay, just started that.
Yeah. And so is there any one particular thing that you feel like you're a little stuck with as far as something that needs to be implemented?
No, some of it's just, and once again, it gets back into like do steps, right? So like, one of the scenarios is like, I have a way of making the book, but I found a cheaper place of doing it. So one of the things I said I wanted to do was just do a test run of this new process. You know, in my head, I think it should work, and logically it should work, but I need to just go ahead and create one just to see, you know, using the new process. And then some of the other stuff was just getting some presence online. And I'm gonna need I have some challenges with doing some league pages, things along those lines.
Okay. Well, I can help you with that. I have resources and things like that. But
okay.
You know, the thing is, it's like I've found out is with almost everything, it's not that we have a problem. It's because we're all going to have, you know, call it problem and issue. It's just things come up. You know, you have things that you need to do in order to get from point A to point B and point C. And so it's a matter of just looking at those and saying, okay, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to do those things online, everything about it, but it's putting it down and saying, okay, these are the things that I know that I need to do. And then, you know, you can say, all right, is there somebody that I need to call? If you don't know exactly, you may know what it is, but you may not know exactly how to accomplish it. So what you want to do is you have to find resources. And if you don't know what those resources are, who can you call who can maybe help you get a resource? That's the thing that I've had to learn. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't have any resources. Okay, so who do I know that has done something similar, something the same, or who might, like that gentleman, who can put me in touch with a good resource. And it doesn't matter, what happens is we start prejudging.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll want to help me, or no, I don't think they'll know. We don't know if they know. We won't know. You won't know if I have a resource for you unless you ask me. And sometimes people are afraid of looking silly because they think, well, I should know how to do that. I can't, and people are going to think, my gosh, Mark, what's the matter with you? I can't believe you don't know. I learned a long time ago, if I don't know what the meaning of a word is, go look it up or ask somebody. That's why with my clients, I always want them to stop and say, hey, I don't understand that, or I don't know what that word means. Because sometimes I've found myself, I don't know, everybody else seems to know what this abbreviation is, and I don't know what it is, but, I don't want them to know that I don't know. Well, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, with these different, do you feel like you were able to come up with a complete list of all of the things that you need to put into place to?
Yes, I really did feel like I really did come up with a really good comprehensive list of everything that I needed to be in place in order to sell one. And then I also, and I don't want to skip too far ahead, think about the second homework assignment that you gave me of charting everything I did on a daily basis.
Right.
And what I found was, wow, they really didn't match up nowhere near what it needed to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to ask you. What did you find out when you made the list of everything that you were doing and how much time you were spending on it?
Yeah. So, like I said, I got all excited, came up with a very comprehensive list. I went to bed, woke up the next morning, excited about, okay, I'm going to knock out a big chunk of this. I know what I need to do. I think I know who I need to talk to. Let's go to work. And what I found is in a typical day, how distracted I have been and how distracted I allow other people's quote unquote problems become my problems. And then when I went through, and we can walk through it, I ended up going through where from starting at 7 in the morning and going to bed at 1 the next, that evening, I only put in maybe an hour and a half on my business. It was just a day that, some of it was, I was kind of avoiding because I didn't know where to kind of start. Then I got ready to jump in, and then I had to do this for somebody else, or, I had to go take my son here, and, and a day just had gone by, and I looked back at the end of the night, I was like, I didn't do, for my friends, I didn't do crap.
I know. I'm laughing with you and smiling because this is what I found, years ago when I first started doing this. And at first I thought, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to, because what I did is I carried a little bitty tiny notebook around with me, literally in my pocket, in my purse. I carried it with me if I went in the car, and I carried it with me. And because I had, needed to jot down, and I, couldn't always be in front of my computer. So I would jot down, brush my teeth. Well, how long did I spend doing that? And I thought, gosh, this is stupid. But I knew that I needed to do this. And when I got through, just like you, I was like, I only spent, I think it was a half an hour on something that was productive. And I was awake how many hours?
Right.
And then I'm claiming, but I don't have time.
That was me.
I don't have time to work on this. And see, I still have to do this. I still have to do this every day. And then one thing that I teach my clients, and things that I got into with myself, is how to make that work for you. Because it's how you all pull that together. And I still have, I have my whole life scheduled out, my whole day. Yes and no. I have certain parts of it that I'm very scheduled, mainly at the beginning of my day and at the end of my day. But I have to, because I've never been officially diagnosed with ADD, and I really don't care. But I'm sure that, if I were to be diagnosed, you know, they would say, "Oh my God, you got to get on medication. You're ADD. I don't know how you function." So, you know, it is what it is. I don't see that as a negative thing. But we're like a little 2-year-old, you know, we're like, get back over here, and we have to go get them and pull them back over here. Okay, now I want you to do this. And when I first started doing this, I thought, my gosh, you know, I'm like a little child. And of course, I have a different way of, you know, talking to myself. And I said, well, you know, Taylor, you're acting like a child. So, you know, but I think it probably showed you where you were spending your time, you know, and how much time you were actually spending on each thing that you did.
Oh yeah, and I didn't know if you wanted me to share that or just talk about it, because I'll be more than happy to share that with you.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to do. What did you discover? First of all, let me ask you, how do you feel now? I mean, just emotionally and you know, attitude-wise, how do you feel now compared to before we even started talking?
Okay, so I felt great that I actually kind of came up with a list, right, of what I really need to do. So on that side, I felt really, really good. But at the end of the day, last night when I went to bed, I felt like, okay, now you know what you're doing, but you still didn't do the things that you needed to do.
Yeah.
And I think largely was because I allowed other things to take priority. And I think what you said was very important, of really dictating your morning and your evening. That's really going to dictate how your day is going to go.
Yeah.
Now I have a guy that's kind of staying with me, and I'm kind of mentoring a little bit. But so you know, my day started off like this. Let me pull this up here real quick. Just read you some of the things I ended up doing and how my day went. And I said I'll email this to you. Probably be easier for you to kind of see it while I have it in front of me. Hold on a second. I did it in Smartsheet. Let me do this real quick. Hold on 1 second, okay? Oh, okay. Here it is. Sheet 1. No, sheet 1. Let's see how I can kind of share this real quickly. Hold on a second. I had this up here so I could do it this way. Got too many tabs going on. Do you ever use something called Smartsheet?
No, I don't.
It's really cool. It's kind of like a project and Excel kind of all woven into one.
Because I use Excel spreadsheets. I mean, I'm a big fan of them.
Yeah.
I think mainly because I know how to use them, and I'm used to it. But I'm a big fan of the Excel spreadsheet. Here's what I found is, you know, at first I was a little resistant to it because it was too structured, and at first it took extra time to start, you know, making the changes. But once I started actually using the spreadsheets, or, you know, something that you're using, what I found is I became so much more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what I showed you, that one exercise, that's just one thing. I have many, many things that I teach my clients, and it's amazing. I mean, when I think about, you know, how I used to be and then how I am now, it's just like I'm not even the same person. And that's what my clients tell me. They were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can get so much more done, and you know, I'm so much more efficient." And you just feel better about yourself, you know.
You do. You really, really, really do.
mean, you know, yeah, it's nice temporarily. You're just not getting a lot done, or slacking off, or you're doing this or you're doing that, or spending time on Facebook. And I love Facebook, don't get me wrong, I do. And I spend a lot of time with my business on Facebook, and it feels good. But at the end of the day, when you get through and you've not gotten that much done, really, I mean, productive stuff. And I'm not saying you have to just work 24/7, but if you compare that to the days when you're really productive, spending quality time with your son, that's very productive.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do whatever it is you're doing, you want to be productive. If you're mentally exhausted and you just need some time for Mark, book some time in, but make sure it's productive time. And when I say productive time, if you need to just chill out, make sure you actually chill out. And it's productive, meaning it's getting the results that you need.
Okay.
If it means just vegging out and saying, okay, I'm going to just book an hour to watch a mindless TV show, then watch that mindless TV show and don't do something else, because then you're not productive. Productivity has many different meanings.
Okay.
It can mean getting a lot of stuff done, as if you're writing, or like if your business project, you can be very, very productive and say, okay, I needed to make 10 calls to, put this out in front of 10 people. I got those 10 calls. That's very productive. Spending the quality time with your son, shutting off your phone, just saying, hey, buddy, you and me, we're just going to have some fun time. And if you do that and you're hugging, or, whatever it is you need to do with your son, that's very productive.
Yeah.
Is it starting to make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're meditating, you want to say you have some time that I want to meditate, then meditate. It's very productive. So productivity can take on many different meanings.
Gotcha.
So that's how you want to start approaching things.
Okay.
So what did you find with your list?
Yeah. Okay. So boom, got up in the morning, 10 minutes, brush my teeth, then I ended up having to take him to work. Right. So that ended up sitting in traffic. So now I get back, it's roughly about 8 o'clock. Right. So I swing by Starbucks, get me something to drink. Then I drive back home from there. Then I get in the house. Now I jump on Facebook because it's early in the morning. I got to see who liked my last post. Right.
That's right, baby. You gotta have those likes. That's gonna
right.
pay mortgage.
Yes, endorphins. Got to get those right. So now it's about 8:30, and when I was on Facebook, and this is what I talk about how my whole day changed, and it was a good way. This time it was good, but it doesn't always work out this way, right? So I was on Facebook, and I came across this gentleman who had an online program, and it was a process that was so amazing. So and he was selling something to help people who have gyms, right? If you have a gym, basically take your gym online. And he was really big on getting testimonials, and getting these video testimonials was like the key to what he was doing. But when I watched it, I said, wow, I could probably apply that to what I was doing, even though it was only for gyms. But anyway, I ended up watching it for a whole hour. I got so intrigued with what he had said, took all these notes, right? And then there you go. That's no star, no shiny thing, right? I'm like, okay, maybe I'll use this to make my thing work, right?
That's right.
So I did what you said, right? So after I got done off that class, I was like, I vegged out. I sat on the couch for about 15 minutes, just kind of taking all that in and trying to figure out if I wanted to do it, if I didn't want to do it, how that was going to work, this, that, and third. Then I jumped on, got back online. I checked my emails and saw what I had to respond back. Jumped back on Facebook. I found out I did that as well, right? Mm-hmm. And then also I knew it. Now it's about 10:20, and I had a few errands that I ran. So I ran out and did those errands, and I had to go mail back some phones. I got my phones replaced with my son's phone replaced. This, that, and the third. Then I came back in the house, got me a bite to eat. And then finally I sat down and said, okay, well, I'm gonna take all those things that I did the night before, and I'm gonna put them into some type of spreadsheet that I could use them on. So then I ended up doing that. Then I did worked on my logo, so that was good. So now I'm in my zone, right? And that was from 11:30 to 1. I worked on getting that stuff in my spreadsheet and working on my new logo and making a list of things the next things I needed to do, the top priority. Then I sat down on the couch. I ended up napping.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up napping for about 20 minutes. I jumped up. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Can't be napping in the middle of the day. You know, I got work to do. And then yesterday was just a go day. So then I ended up having to go. I have two boys. So I go pick up my one son from school, you know, and take him back home. And then my other son, he had a band concert and he forgot his shirt. So then I had to come back home and get his shirt, take it back to his school. Meanwhile, the clock's just going tick, 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 tick,
Uh-huh.
tick, 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 tick,
Yeah.
tick. You know, and then I ended up coming back. I ended up going to his concert and did that. And I spent some time with him afterwards. Took him out to bite to eat because this last, you know, concert of the year. We went, got a bite to eat, and now it's, you know, the day's shot. Now let's see what time I'm at now. Now I'm at we get back from dinner. It's probably about 8:10. Walk back in the house, grab my phone, jump back on Facebook, see what I missed, right? Then I sat back down. Now it's about 9:30, and I did some more work for about an hour, for about 45 minutes. That was it. And then I get the phone call. I had to go pick up the guy that I dropped off first thing this morning. Went and dropped him off, picked him back up, came back in the house after dropping him off. And now it's 11 o'clock, or, you know, 12. It was like 11. It was like 12 o'clock. So I got to turn on ESPN and find out who won the game. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? You don't need time for this. These guys are millionaires already. You got to get back to work. You know. I took a shower. Next, you know, it's 12:30 at night, and I'm, you know, like, what the hell? Whole day had gone by. So I felt like, when you asked me how I really felt, right? I felt so good of knowing what I needed to do, but I also felt kind of disappointed that I didn't get more done. Not that I regret any of the things that I did. Maybe driving him back and forth, and if my son was a little more organized, I wouldn't have had to go back twice for him. But I felt like, you know, that I wasn't being as productive as I could have been, and I have many days looking back at this, many days that go like this, that drift in a different direction than what I kind of initially thought I was going to do, you know. So it's a little, I can see how you get frustrated. You're not really making any progress, because sometimes it's just the fact that you're not spending the time that you need to be productive, right?
Yeah, it is. That's what it boils down to. And, you know, it's like my client that I was telling you, the mother of 6, I think I told you about her.
Mm-hmm.
She homeschooled the kids, and, you know, she was somewhat organized, but she still had a problem having time, you know, being able to spend on her business. And she didn't realize that was the problem, but she was like you. She really needed to get some things going and some new programs and things. And, you know, by me working with her, now this was just a start, but that's how we were able to create 25 hours a week. Imagine if you had an extra 25 hours of pure time where you could devote on uninterrupted time, where you could devote on getting this project off the ground.
That's the key, what you just said there. It's uninterrupted time. That is
absolutely
more powerful. Like 1 hour of uninterrupted time is almost better than 4 hours of erupted time, so to speak.
Absolutely. You know? So imagine if you could learn how to have that. Imagine, don't you think that if you had that every week, imagine after 4 weeks where you would be.
Yeah.
With your business project that you are wanting to get off the ground. And
yeah.
The thing that I told you yesterday is I wanted you, and I don't know if you actually remember to do this, but that's why I told you, I want you to pretend that you are doing this exercise for someone else, because it takes the emotional.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You didn't have a bad day yesterday. I mean, it is what it is. And so I don't want you to look at it and, you know, beat yourself up and feel like, well, I just didn't get anything done. What that did is it showed you exactly, you know, what you were spending your time on and how much you were spending on. It was just a diagnostic tool. That's all. So
And
now,
create that roadmap that you had me create first, I think that was so productive. That's why I kind of felt like I wasn't as productive, but I know where I'm going. I know what I need to do, right? Had I not done that first exercise, I'd been like, hey, this is a day in the life of Mark, you know?
yeah. So let me ask you, the one thing that we talked about, and maybe we need to kind of go over the list of exactly what it is you need to do. But the one, I don't know exactly where you are in the process as far as how far along you are and exactly what else you need to get done to be able to say, I'm in business.
Gotcha. We can go over that.
The one thing that you did tell me is you don't have the shopping cart set up yet. That is very, very, well, that's the engine to your car. And so the other thing that you want to keep in mind is you don't necessarily have to have, feel like you have to have each one of these things in a particular order necessary. There's a few exceptions to that, but so much of the time when we have a list of, okay, I need to get these things done, then we start, well, I don't know whether I should do A first or if I should do F first or if I should do D, and then we start analyzing the crap out of it. And then we don't do anything. Sometimes you just got to pick one and do it. Then cross it off the list. You may find out, well, I might have been better if I'd done this other one. But the fact is, if you don't get them done, you can't get this business project off the ground.
Yeah, you get analysis by paralysis. Better to make a wrong decision and learn from it and adjust than to make no decision.
Yeah. And so sometimes you want to just pick something and just say, okay, I'm just going to get this done. Then that's one less thing that you have to end up doing.
Okay, so here's how I broke it down. What I did was I said from the product, right, the production part side of it, right? So what I needed to do on that side was I needed to do a drive run with the new vendor, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then I needed to. There's a few. I wanted to add a few things. A gratuity page. This is what some of my feedback I got from my customers. Right. A gratuity page, and then just define the templates of each. Basically, define each one of the sections. Just as concrete. These are the ones I'm going with. Right. So those are just kind of like little nuances. Then I went down to business infrastructure. And I said, okay, well, I need to go ahead and get my business license. I need to get this tied to a bank account with the EIN number, and then get some business cards, new business cards. I have some, but new in line with what this is, with the whole image and branding.
Okay.
And then I went to the launch, right? So what do I need to do in order to launch this thing, right? Where I broke that up into 4 different categories. One was I needed my online presence. I need to have not so much a web page, but have a landing page,
right?
Which I had started. I was about 80% of the way done to that. And I need to hook that back to a shopping cart. And then I need to put together what the joint venture program was going to look like. So if I went to somebody who's already had a group of people and I went to co-brand this product with what they're doing, what would that look like? And create an affiliate program. That's what I had down there as well. And then I had all my social media stuff I need to update. I need to update my Facebook page, my my LinkedIn page. If I'm going to use Twitter, which I've been kind of leaning towards using that. And then I called it Plan 2.0, because once I get this thing up and running, I talked about maybe having a text service to kind of support it. But then I went back and I was going back and forth, like you said, that analysis by paralysis. I was like, you know what? Let's just get the book out. Let's just get the book out, get some feedback on that. And then you can add other bells and whistles at a later date. So I made that executive decision. I was proud of myself on that one. And then also I want to make some webinars. I want to do some webinars about the topics of the book. So I had that listed down in here. And then I was ready to go. So it ended up being a list of Everything I ended up putting on here was about a list of 66 things. I want to emulate or mirror the whole chicken soup for the soul, how they kind of went about doing that. And so right now, if you go, goals are just so broad, right? I really would think, along lines, I would really want to have the book could be a financial book. It could be a personal relationship book. You know what I'm saying? So it's not so broad. So that's just kind of, I like how that business is growing. I wanted to kind of, emulate that. But that was like in the background. I just need to look into that, and keep up with that. But that wasn't an action item I needed to do to produce money or results.
Right. Well, what I was going to say is I'm going to suggest that you do a couple of things.
Okay.
And you can do this even in life in general, is have a page where you have all of it's an idea page. So in other words, you have your goals, things that you want to, just ideas that you have. Oh, I have this great idea for this book. Just write it down. You want to make a list of, it doesn't matter, when you're going to get it accomplished, but just get it out of your mind onto a piece of paper. Yeah. Okay. I think, this is a great idea. I could take the video that you watched with the guy. Okay. Write that down. Do you have a link to the video? Copy and paste that, and then title what it is. Title what that video was. And just put that on your idea page. It's kind of like a brain dump. And just put it down on the page. Then what you want to do is, like we were talking about, is what are the immediate things that I need to do right now? Because we get stuck into thinking, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. So we start running over here and learning how to do that. And when we haven't even made one sale.
Right.
And so the most important, because here's what I want to tell you that will happen. It's happened to me, and this happens to people a lot of times, is you want to get yourself prepared and ready as if, because here's the thing, you never know when that opportunity is going to open the door for you. It's just like I said, I wanted to speak, and it wasn't any time. Within a week, I went to a meeting and somebody said, I want you to speak for an hour to this group of people. I wasn't ready.
Taylor,
I had no idea. And I was like, I wasn't going to say, oh, well, no. And I thought, well, I'll just get ready. And here's what happened. I scrambled around last minute, like we used to do in school, getting ready to take a test. We're staying up all night, cramming.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And I bombed. I was sucked. It was awful. And I said, I am never, ever going to let that happen to me again. So here's the thing, is like I've told you. What would you do if somebody said, I want this?
Yeah, that's what happened this morning.
I know.
That's exactly what happened this morning.
So listen to my intuition is really telling me with this, because you have a great idea.
Okay.
Do you have a strong belief in what you're doing? In the product?
I do.
Okay. So if you're passionate about the product, you have a really good product, you've already gotten some good feedback, you already had one man that said, I'm interested, and the same thing happened, you're like, I'm not ready. So it's knocking on your door. So you need to pay attention to that. So you want to be ready. So the most important thing is that you have the product, like you said, doing a dry run, getting that book made from the new vendor. Make sure you have, what are all the different steps that you have to work out with that? Mm-hmm. With the new, do you have is there a contract that you need to sign with them? How much leeway, you know, how much time do they need to print the book? Get everything put into place for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because without the book, if you can't get the book, then, you know,
Right.
You know, you can only put people off for so long.
Right.
So you don't want to take orders and then say, well, I'm sorry, I can't get you the book.
Right.
So
right.
get that put into place. Get your shopping cart put into place. Make sure you can get all the bugs worked out of that. Make sure you can, you know, credit card information is being able to be put in. The opt-in page, because here's the thing, you don't have to have a website. Forget the website. Website is, that's one thing I had to learn, and that people will tell you, is you need one opt-in page. That's all you need for this particular product. You need the opt-in page. And then be ready to take orders. And those are the immediate things that you need to do right now. And all those other ideas can wait.
Okay.
And so, you know, and so what you want to do is, you know, testimonials are very important. Testimonials for this book. So you want to start getting, you know, whether you send somebody a free book, you know, for exchange for a testimonial, that's a really good thing to do. And start getting some testimonials. And here's the thing, you want to think big, but you want to start small. And so, you know, you have the chicken soup for the soul idea, which is great. That's thinking big. So put that down. But start small. Get 1 order. Get 10 orders. Make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to be working. You know, it's like when you go, you put your website together or your opt-in. Make sure that when people click on this, it goes to where it's supposed to go. And then that, you know, then you have to have your follow-up emails, and you've got to make sure that all of that is tested and working well on a small scale, because here's what will happen. I'm all for thinking big and, you know, biting off more that you can chew and then just chew it. I'm for that, except what will happen is most of the time, if you take on something too big when you are not prepared at all, you won't do well, and then you shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens. We start and we stop. We start and we stop. And then we pull back and you're like, oh gosh, and we're so overwhelmed. And it's so easy to get overwhelmed with projects and, you know, books and, you know, whatever it is we're doing. So, you know, it's like if you can't manage $20,000 a year in income, what makes you think you're going to be able to manage $1 million a year?
Right.
You know, we say, oh, I want to be a millionaire, but I can't even manage $20,000 a year. I had to learn that one. And I was like, oh, holy crap, I need to learn to manage my money while I have just a little bit, then learn to manage a little bit more. And then eventually, yeah, I can manage $1 million a year. But there was a time that would have been the worst thing in the world for me to be super successful, because I would have just gone and blown it all.
Yeah.
And so you kind of want to approach your business the same way. Is get yourself prepared right now. So you do need a business license. So what you want to do is, okay, that's one thing on your list, but what is required to do that? Do you need to make a phone call? Do you know where you need to go to get that? Mm-hmm. So what are all the different steps that you need to do in just getting a business license? And you want to write those down. I don't care if it's 10 steps. I don't know how many steps it's going to take you. Do you need to make a phone call? You know, write that down. Who do you need to call? So write all the steps to each one of these steps. Because what will happen is you'll have say, okay, I've got a list of, you know, 10 things that I need to do, and then I can take orders. But each one of those steps may have 3 to 10 steps to accomplish each one of those. So you say, oh, I only have 10 things I've got to do. No big deal. And then you're wondering why, you know, it's going to take 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, you still don't have it done. So write all the, because we think that we can get everything done a lot quicker than we actually can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things just seem to take, you know, 3-4 times as long as we think they're going to take. So make a list of each step that you need to do to accomplish each one of those. And then if, you know, like I said, I don't know exactly what the steps are, but look at them and figure out, okay, is there one step that I need to do first?
Yeah.
If there's not, just start picking it. But your primary, because here's the thing, how do you think you would feel if you start getting 1, 2, or 3 sales to start getting, there's something about getting the clients or something about getting the orders and getting the money in that just it's motivating.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just, it's like, wow, I finally actually did this and it's manageable. You know, it's like, if you don't want to find yourself in a situation, it's like, okay, I got this, and all of a sudden I got 1,000 orders, and you haven't even been able to, you know, put out one, and it's so overwhelming, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so that's what you want to avoid doing. You know, the other thing is, what do you have to do to deliver this product? How is it delivered? How do you deliver this product to your customer?
Yeah, well, the way it works with the printer that actually prints the book, they actually do all the shipping and the customer service. So they keep track of the number, the customer number when the book is shipped out, when it gets there, and it actually has a website where I get an email as well as the customer gets an email. It's a white label email where they can see all along the way where the book is. I think one of the things you said here is also really good too. Is like when I was telling you before about how I kind of work with pressure, right? Some pressure on me, I almost need that, right? That's what makes me kind of move. And so after I finished watching that video, one of the things I do was to follow back up with those guys. I did a 30-minute call this morning, and when I went through the call and everything, like I was telling you earlier, and I shared with them the book, the first thing that came out of their mouth was, "Hey, when can I get it? And how soon can I see what I had?" Right?
That's
so
right.
I'm doing the ada dance, right? So the ada dance was well, the website goes live Monday morning. It'll be up Monday morning. I'll send you the link to it. You'll be able to see everything. Now, what I knew that they didn't know was I had already did 80% of the whole opt-in process already, right? I hadn't done, the only thing I was missing really was linking it back to my, what do you call it? To my PayPal. But I knew that's not a long process, but it's something that has to be done, right? But that also, like you said about getting the orders, as much as I want to see the orders come through, I don't want to blow any orders either, right? So that's also a motivation to what you said. And then what you also said earlier, which I was helpful too, was what I did was, and I'm going to share this list with you. I don't know why I didn't. I probably should have. But what I'll do is I'll mail a list to you. What I did was, what I like what you just said was taking the steps and then breaking them down even further to what you have to do. I think that's going to be very helpful too, because that'll actually give me a better real picture of how long it really would take me to do it, right? But what I made a second column for everything that I said I had to do. I made like a why section, like, so business license because I have to pay taxes. Okay, shipping a book to make sure the process is correct. So that way, when I go back through it, because you got so many plates you're spinning, right? That well, why did I put that task down? Why was that task important? So I put a why down there for it.
Okay.
But, I will go back. I'll send this to you when we get off the call tonight, as it is now, and then part of my homework, I'll go ahead and break it down further, like you just suggested.
Okay. Yeah, because here's the thing. Like you said earlier, this is very doable.
Yeah.
You can see that I can actually do this.
Yeah, I got one. Woohoo! I got 5 of them. Woohoo! Yeah.
Okay, good. I would love to see, you know, exactly what you're doing there with the book. But the other thing is you have more to do than you think you do in reality.
Okay.
So that's why I said you want to make a list of all the steps that you have to do for each one of those things. So what is involved in getting the shopping cart? You want to make sure, do you have a shopping cart in mind? You know, whether it's PayPal, have you actually contacted them? Do you know how to put that shopping cart on that opt-in page? Do you know how to hyperlink all that stuff? Because here's what happens, and I've had to learn this the hard way. It's like, oh, that's no big deal. Well, guess what? What if your computer decides to update for 45 minutes? Mine did the other day. I was like, okay, that's 45 minutes I didn't count on. You're going to have things that don't work. Technology doesn't work when we want it to work all the time, and it doesn't work the way we think it's going to work. And you may think, well, I'll just call customer service. Well, what if it takes you 30 extra minutes to get somebody on the phone? So these are all the little things that you haven't counted on. So it's very doable. You're gonna get this off the ground. But you have more to do than you think you have to do. So here's the thing. At the rate that, you looked at your day yesterday. So you said that's kind of a typical day. So an hour and a half a day. Do you honestly think that you can get this done if you only spend an hour and a half a day working on this?
No. But that was the value of that exercise of reevaluating what I was spending my time on and what things were really important for me to do, important as in well-being, important as financial, important as compared to things that I can offset or allow someone else to do or don't allow to go in my day. Like, for instance, we talk about taking that gentleman back and forth to work every day, right? So that's something I probably need to offload that, right? I need to offload that. Because that's 2 hours. That's 2 hours out of your day right there. Maybe 2.5, right? Depending on traffic. So that alone right there is huge. That's 4 hours right there. I just got back just by not doing that. Not running him around, right?
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. If you take that, and times that every day at the end of the week, it's like, okay, what could you get done? Because it is going to take you a little bit of time. It's just the initial learning curves are getting things off the ground. That's what takes so long. And that's what stops people. It's the initial learning curves. It's like, damn, why does everything have to take so long? Well, it just does. I don't know why. A lot of the stuff, when I started working with Crystal, I was like, gosh, everything is a learning curve. Every little single thing. But you know what? Now I have learned so much. I have all these skills to do. I can whip out an email on Aweber to go follow up emails. I didn't know what a campaign was. I didn't know what a broadcast was. How in the hell do you do this? And I'm like, well, I'm having to call Aweber and walk me through all these little steps. But now I'm able to do that, and it's no big deal.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in that initial learning curve stage. And so it is going to take you a little bit longer. It has nothing to do with intelligence.
Mm-hmm. No. I agree with you. Some of it's experience. Yeah. The whole shopping cart, things like that. I did that. I had someone do that for me when I first was originally getting started. So I saw how the linkage was. They send it back to me to review it and everything. So it's a matter of me pulling back out those emails and logging back in and redirect, because I had it all set up, right? Mm-hmm. But it was going to a totally different web page. It was going to a web page as opposed to was going to a opt-in page. And now just behind the scenes stuff you didn't know was, so I was using a membership account, right? And then I stopped using that membership service. Well, when I stopped using their service, they shut everything down, right? And my website was getting forwarded to their site. So they wouldn't turn it off. So I couldn't. All the information I had for I had an 8-page website. It was all blocked. They won't give it back to me. Well, I can't. What can I do? Cry about it? No. Okay, I did that for a day, right?
Yeah.
Now I had to recreate the website. And what I learned was, like you said, it was better for me to have an opt-in page than to have a website. So
Yes.
I created the opt-in page. So I got that. So now I just got to, some of the stuff I kind of already did it won't be brand new, but you're right. There are a lot of things, the things that you don't know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like I said, you have more to do. You're wanting to get this up and running Monday.
I will have the website up, and I will be able to take orders come Monday. I guarantee you that.
Okay. So, but like I said, you do have more to get done than you think you do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. But the good news is it's very doable. You're like so close. And so it's kind of like at the last, like when you get really, really close to doing something, then it's like you got all these little last minute things, and then this kind of goes wrong and that goes wrong, and then you have this goes right. And it's like, I don't know why it happens, but at the very last minute, all these little things start happening that you hadn't counted on. And that's you. I'm not saying that to scare you, but it's just real. And this is what happens with people. And then when it happens, they don't expect it, and then they just shut down because they get too overwhelmed. And so we don't want that to happen to you. So I think lack of preparation is one of the things that kills people actually becoming success. A lack of preparation, because when you're not prepared, you do have to be somewhat prepared to do whatever it is you're doing. You don't have to know all the answers, but if you are just not prepared, then the crap hits the fan, and then we shut down. So you do want to be prepared, because if you think about things, if you are totally prepared and you know something backward and forward, you're really not too hesitant. You're like, hey, you're confident.
Very much so.
But if you all of a sudden were asked to give a talk on something you don't know anything about and you're not prepared, you're going to get really nervous. You're like, and you're not going to do well. But if you think about a topic that you're passionate about, but you're really prepared because you don't have to think a whole lot about it, you can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the same thing with the business. So just realize all this time that you're kind of just giving away to either other people or Facebook or whatever is what you're doing, the way you're spending your time. Is that moving you towards getting this product in people's hands? You have to think about it. It's what I'm doing right now. Is this productive in moving? Is this going to actually help get this off the ground?
Yeah.
Because one thing you have to learn is, and especially if you are a giver, I'm a giver, and especially if you are a giver, you tend to think that you have to be there for everybody. You have to help everybody, and they need your help. No.
Yeah.
I had to learn that a long time ago. And sometimes we feel guilty, especially women. I don't, but a lot of women feel guilty, and it's like, yeah, but they're depending on me. We teach people how to treat us.
Yeah.
We teach our spouses or our significant others. We teach our kids. We teach our family. We teach everybody how to treat us. Whether our time is ours or sometimes they think that they have access to us 24/7. It's like the technology.
Mm-hmm.
We're a slave to our technology. We're a slave to our family. We're a slave to everybody but ourselves.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. project yourself in the future. When you do have this off the ground, you do have the money coming in, and you are making a difference in people's lives. How is that going to make you feel? Versus how have you been feeling before now? Yeah, you've got this great, wonderful idea, but you're not doing anything with it. You kind of get sort of there, and then you kind of stop, pull back. You know, subconsciously, how does that make you feel? You don't realize it, but kind of just eats away at you, you know.
It does. Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'll just give up. And, you know, why? So that's what you want to do, is just on, you know, when you're doing things, figure out, do I really need to be doing this right now? And the other thing is that going to pay my mortgage?
Yeah.
Is that, what are the things that you're wanting to accomplish? Is that going to be, you know, do you want to do things with your sons? You know, take them on trips or do things with them? Well, is that going to enable you to do that? You know, think about what's the important thing to you in your life. You know, what really are the most important things that they're important to you, and then what are the important things to, you know, the people that are in your life? What's important to them? So is what you're doing going to contribute to that? And you really have, you know, is checking Facebook. I'm not 100%, but if I'm on there just, now I'm not saying don't ever do that, but if I'm on just spending hours and then I watch a little animal video and then I get sidetracked and I start watching this and that, and, you know, pretty soon then I've spent an hour on Facebook and I need to get my book written.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book. This book is, and I've got most of it done, but I've got summaries to the chapters that I need to finish. This is, if I may say so myself, it's a wonderful book. I've had people give me nothing but rave reviews. It has so much good information in it that literally can change people's lives. It's not just a bunch of fluff and puff stuff. It's good content. It's almost like a how-to coaching manual. I have this wonderful product that people need to read. They need to hear about this. It will help change their life, but it's not going to unless I can actually get it finished, get it edited, and published. So if I'm spending time, you know, helping every family member that needs help, and, you know, just because they ask for help and I'm on Facebook and I'm, you know, doing all this stuff, that's not going to help my book get to the market to help people. And so that's why I had you do that list. It's the first thing I have anybody do. I don't care if you're a CEO, I don't care if you're a millionaire attorney, whatever it is. And on the other flip side is you also, with many people, is they can see that they have they haven't allowed any time to take care of themselves. I mean, that's, you know, this all work and absolutely no play at all, you know, burning the candle at both ends, you know, just grind, that will catch up with you. Mm-hmm. And so that's the other thing is you see, my gosh, I don't spend any time with my family. You know, I didn't realize that. And then or I don't spend any time with my wife. And, you know, maybe sometimes you don't want to, but, you know, then you think, gosh, she's been nagging me, you know, I don't ever spend any time. Well, no wonder, because look at what, you know, and you want to do this for at least a whole week. You want to start doing this every single day, because then you can see where you're spending your time. And it's like, well, my gosh, I only spent, you know, 5 minutes on Monday and maybe, you know, 20 minutes on Wednesday. And gosh, I'm not even seeing my boys hardly at all. So if that's important to you, all it does is it just gives you a printout of what's happening. It's not, you know, It doesn't mean it's good or bad. It just lets you know, oh, this is what's going on. Then you can adjust things, you can tweak them, and make sure. And that's what I do. I mean, I this is only like kindergarten or first grade stuff. You know, we have all 12 grades and then college, but this is just one thing that kind of gets the ball rolling towards, you know, having the kind of life that you want and actually being able to get yourself back on track, get yourself unstuck, back on track with every area of your life. And then you can move forward and do the things that you're wanting to do in your business. And so this is a start in getting, you know, the ball rolling for this.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I did before with my previous company that I drew on from this exercise you gave me was I had a previous company that I started that I was pretty successful with. And one of the things I did before I got started, because I've always been the dad, I've gone to all my kids' games, I go to all their concerts. I've always had that kind of freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
That costs you something, right? From a financial perspective sometimes. But one of the things that I did, and I'm going to need to do that now, and this exercise helped bring that out and remind me of that, is to level set, right? Level set with everybody who's really in my immediate circle, right? To say, hey, look, you know what? I got this project. It's been on my heart. I'm about to birth it, and it's going to take a lot of my time. So
Yeah.
I want you to understand that and level set them with that. And I remember doing that with my son about 3-4 years ago, like I said, when I had something else. And it was so amazing because the messages that they would leave wasn't like, Dad, where you're at. It was more like, hey, Dad, how's that going? Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they would do like a little countdown. We did that. We made like a little 30-day countdown. Every day we would count down. And that also was some motivation for me. Like, okay, I gotta get this shit done for my friends.
Yeah.
I gotta get this done because I tell them if I make a commitment, you gotta stick to it. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, you know, getting them involved, you know, is, you know, and they kind of keep you accountable. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to get them involved. So, you have a pretty good idea now about what it is you need to do and some of the necessary changes that you need to make to be able to actually get this going.
Yeah. So yeah, and the changes that what I gather from you made a good point too about where to start at, right? You have a list of all these things you need to do, right? Well, what do you need to do to get it out the door to produce revenue, right? Once you get that, you know, you basically get that quote unquote infrastructure in place. Then I can start working on the marketing because I know if the marketing works, the infrastructure is there to push it through.
Right.
So that's what I do. That was a good takeaway from that. I appreciate that.
Well, good. Well, that's the thing is I'm about getting people unstuck, finding out the root cause of the problems, and then starting there, and then, you know, problem solving. And so you can get back on track because you want to take this and run with it, or crawl, then walk, and then run with it. You want to make a commitment because you can already see that this can be done. Is there anything what do you think that has been stopping you before?
The kind of like the old blank moment where it's right there. Like honestly, the guy who asked you for it, and then you start thinking about, oh, can I really do this? Or what if this doesn't work? Or what if people really don't get the value out of it that you see in it? You know, those are things I would say that have stuck me before. And then, you know, there's the key to success. You got to take the stairs, right? You can't jump onto something else that's going to get you there any faster. Whatever that is over there, that got stairs too. So.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. And so, but the thing is, you really haven't had any particular thing or any particular person that has stopped you except you. So do you feel like there's any reason or anything or any person that's keeping you from actually doing this?
No, at the end of the day, it all comes back to me, right? At the end of the day, if it's going to happen, it's going to come back to me. I do think there's some personal life relationship decisions I need to make that would also make this a whole lot easier. And that I've known that for a while. but
Yeah.
you kind of it's kind of like I heard someone say this the other day, and I thought it was so powerful. He said that people, this person's holding you back or that person's holding you back. No, you are having a relationship with that person so that they can hold you back.
Right.
You're allowing that person to hold you back. That's what you want, to some extent, right? That's your safety zone. That's your comfort zone, right? So that's why you kind of wallow in it. And I'm done wallowing, I guess, lack of better terms.
Well, I get that, and I can relate, because I came to that realization a number of years ago. I had a difficult, toxic person in my life. We'll just say difficult. And, it was one of those situations where the warning signs were there at the beginning, and then they got a little bit more and a little bit more frequent. And then I'm like, well, no, they'll change. And, and then it's like, well, they change a little bit and then they don't. And it's like, gosh, but I don't like this, and I don't like their behavior. And, we'd sit down and have a talk about it. And then, then a little bit later, the same thing would happen again. And one day I realized, you know what? They're not going to change. The situation is not going to change. How long have we been going back and forth? And it's still the same.
Yeah. And there's no good time. That's another thing. That's
what I'm
learning now.
We keep waiting
for the perfect time.
That perfect time. And the truth is, with very few exceptions, there's not going to be a perfect time. And that's when I realized, you know what? They are no longer the problem.
Yep.
I am the problem for allowing them to be in my life. Or it's like that with any person, any job, any situation. Nobody holds a gun to our head and makes us do it. And so, and then sometimes we're afraid of disappointing people.
Yep.
And then we suffer the consequences for it. And so, that's one thing that happens with that list that it will help you do, is start looking at the different things that that you've needed to do for a while. And it just kind of, makes it more clear to you. And that's what you've got to realize is, what is it going to take this is what you're wanting to do. And you want to, what is your why for doing that? There's a lot of wonderful reasons why you want to get this off the ground. And what is it going to take to do that? I don't care what anybody says. You can wish for it, and you can be motivated, and you can be inspired. But the fact is, nothing is going to substitute the effort that you have to put in to making that happen. Just sometimes it's good old-fashioned hard work. Sometimes it takes effort. But the thing is, it may not always be easy, and not every day is going to be a wonderful, fabulous day. But it's like trying to run a marathon, and you've got these different little balls and chains on your ankles, and you just can't hardly get there, and it just wears you out. And you've got to cut those ball and chains off so you can start moving towards, running that marathon.
True story.
So that's the thing, is you got to figure out, what is it going to take? Well, it's going to take some time. You're close. It's like you said, it's very doable, but it is going to take some time. It's going to take a little bit of time. So it just makes sense. The more time you put towards working on anything, I don't care what it is, the more time you can put in towards what it is you're trying to reach, the sooner you're going to get there.
Yep.
And if you, it depends on, do you want to take another 5 years? Do you want to take another 3 years and because here's what happens is we're getting momentum. The last 3 days, you got some momentum. I can see it in your eyes. Don't let the momentum die.
No, it's not. No, this is, like I said, you came in at a right point where I was trying to figure out how to kind of turn this thing around, because I made a commitment to turn it around, and this is the light where it was what I needed to see, the direction I needed to go. So no,
Yeah.
I am not, nothing stopping me this time. I made a 5-year commitment of what I wanted to be in 5 years, and I said the first year I was going to just figure out what it is. I'm 52 years old. So I just turned 50, and I said I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I'm going to figure it out. And I took a year or so to kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came up with this idea, and I worked on this for 2 years. And I said on the third year was the year that that I was going to put the work in. Whatever needed to be done, that's what I was going to do. Yeah. So that's why I got to cut these other things out of my life so I can do the work. I want to work, right? You have your seasons when you want to work. Sometimes when you be lazy. I mean, I know I want to work, right? I'm ready to go to work. I'm in great health, Yeah. So, now it's time to do it. So.
Well, yeah. So this, like I said, this is going to help you. Yeah, this has gotten the ball rolling on getting this off the ground. The only thing that will hold you back is you, because I don't see any reason why you can't do this. There's nothing that, and even if there was a big obstacle, okay, it's going to have to take a little detour. Okay, we got to take care of that. But you don't have any of those.
Yeah.
So the only thing that you have is, like you said, maybe there are people or situations in your life where you need to make changes, and you got to look at that. You've got to be totally honest, and we have to take responsibility for the choices that we make. And years ago, when my life was in such a mess, I had to make choices where I was my life was a total mess, so I had to make some drastic changes. And I literally put my social life on hold for 7 months. Now, I don't tell anybody else they have to do that. But the thing is, I had to do that to save myself. But I just told my friends, I said, look, this is what I've got to do. I don't know when I'll be back, but I have to do this for myself. And I just didn't really care what anybody thought. And I just put everything on the back burner except what it is I really had to do. And that's what I did, and focused on, getting caught up on my taxes and getting things, my business rebuilt. And you know what? I couldn't even have told you all of the things that I missed out by doing that. But I can tell you the feeling that I had when I saw that I was making progress, and then being 5 years behind in your taxes is a horrible place to be. But I can tell you the feeling that I had when I took 5 years worth of completed taxes, laid them on the desk of my CPA. That was like a huge high for me.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I didn't even think about, oh my gosh, I missed going out with my friends, or this person got mad at me, because I didn't even think about that. I never even looked back, because here's what I know. If people don't understand, if you're trying to save yourself or trying to accomplish something and they don't understand, you know what? Do you really need those kind of people in your life?
Right.
You want people that support you.
Right.
And so, we have to make those, those tough decisions sometimes. We have to have the difficult conversation with people, and it's not easy. And we just avoid and wait for the right time. There is no right time. So I have to admit, sometimes I kind of made up little white lies to people, but I just said, I have to do this for me.
Yeah.
And it was the best decision I ever made.
I believe it. You talk about what I can see in your eyes. When you tell that story, I can see it all in your face.
Oh, yeah. I was like, bye. But anyway, well, listen, do you have any immediate questions right now?
No. I'm gonna forward those two things off to you. I have a couple other things that just maybe we can talk about, like how you go about, making those breaks, and
Okay.
still, especially when it's a family member.
Absolutely.
I have some thoughts on that, but I'd like to maybe talk to you about that maybe next time.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, listen, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the session today. I'm excited. I am excited for you. Can't wait until you call me and say, hey, I sold a book today, or I sold 3 or whatever. And I want you to share with me when people, you start having some success, because I know what that's like.
Yeah. Frances is the very first person that when I first had one, right? My very first one, and we were doing this for about 3 weeks. About every 2-3 weeks, we take turns buying each other, either lunch or breakfast, and we talk about where she was at and what she was going on and creating her book. And she had called me yesterday. She goes, because I call her rock star. She's like, yeah. She goes, oh, your rock star killed it. I said, what are you talking about? She's like, oh yeah, her company just got acquired by a bigger company. She was employee of the year at her smaller company, and she ended up becoming the employee of the month with this new company, right? And she had just started off with it, so she's like really excited about it. And and I remember sitting there talking to her. It wasn't really like any magic sauce that I said or anything but at the same time, I think it was getting her to really kind of think about what's important in your life. What is it that you really want to do? So I was kind of able to help her grasp that, and that's because she had to send me those pictures, right? So that's part of the thing. And later on, maybe after recording, I'll walk you through what one of the books.
Okay. That would be great. Maybe we can brainstorm, come up with some ideas, because I'm already thinking about where you could take this book and things you could do with this on a big scale.
Oh yeah, I would love to have that conversation as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would be great. Well, listen, I'm going to say bye for now.
Okay.
And we'll talk soon.
Look forward to it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Bye bye.